Hello, everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of a Quagmire interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Labonix interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Basil scroll. This audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production. In this audio podcast, now looking at some works in regard to looking at sort of immunology, neuroendocrinology, and sort of looking at uh, laboratory investigations, sort of the linking immunology or the immune system and amongst other sort of physiological and sort of neuro processes or processes. So Hans Selye from 1936 outlined the General Adaptation Syndrome through three mechanisms. Number one, a sort of apprehension response where the immune system perceives an outside threat or stimuli. Number two, adjustment where the physiology appoints sort of effective coping processes in opposition to a threatening stimuli. And number three, fatigue, where the immune system sort of tires from defending. So through Hans Selye's works in the mid 1930s. In the 1930s, Selye observed when individuals were strained for long-standing times or durations, and established inner reactions affecting endocrine and immune systems. Part of the general adaptation syndrome is also coined the organs coined has been coined as the organs of trauma. Works that had been carried to establish a more substantial link between these organs and cellular components, which are thought to communicate back to the central nervous system. Are have been carried out to an extent and as early as sort of the mid mid 1980s to late 1980s, up to sort of at least up to the new millennium, if not more sort of prospectively. So Selye's work related to Selye's works related and was consistent with Cannon's works from early or mid 1900s, and where Cannon between where Cannon sort of Cannon between that time sort of put between that sort of time also invented the famous sort of model sort of in around fight or flight to understand responses to challenges. Cannon's research from 1929 in around 1929 postulated that strong emotions such as, for example, rage and fright educe internal reactions that organize the body to sort of to either sort of hustle or wrestle or face injury. Contemporary research does emphasize this consistently with the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA, and cardiorenal stress responses. It is because of works by Selye and Cannon that now it is known that going through specific challenges increases the echelon of adrenal and cortisone, the echelon of the echelon of adrenaline and cortisone, which in following raises heart rate and breathing. Stress or strain and different ways of coping can also place challenge on organs. Stress in every sense can be defined as a state of threat to homeostasis. Stresses are 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 sort of the distributing sort of powers or tests on normal physiological homeostasis. Coping is a response, and it can be specific to a stressor, or it can be generalized and non-specific. Coping responses occur only if the magnitude of a challenge to homeostasis exceeds a certain threshold. As a result, the responses coping responses include physiological and or psychological actions to offset strain on the strain or distressing sort of powers to reinstitute normality. At the same time, the it has been noted by several by varying investigators that changes in the immune system and parameters are connected to the hypothalamic, autonomic, and endocrine processes. The immune system is tremendously complex. Sympathetic or beta adrenergic initiation has formally revealed an increase in CD8 cells, CD16 cells, and natural killer cell activity, or NKCA, and a decline in CD4 cells and lymphocyte or white cell increase. Moreover, changes in these immune components have demonstrated to be associated with heart rate and ABP, or arterial blood pressure changes induced by harm, threat, and challenge. Variations in coping linking acuity of and challenge to get used to surrounding our com and challenge to get used to surrounding our challenge by an intricate endocrine configuration. Studies have demonstrated or informed factors predisposing in instigation and succession of diverse pathophysiological processes, such as viral and bacterial infection, allergies, autoimmune responses, and chronic diseases, markedly increasing immunological markers. The association in antibody titer and cell-mediated immunity has been demonstrated conclusively within the context of emotion, irrespective of whether these are naturally occurring these are naturally occurring and or experimentally induced. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of a Quagmire interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Labonix interlude. This audio podcast as part of a Bason scroll. This audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production.